this afternoon. Well, the parking lot has become a pit area for AMA Camel Supercross competitors. They'll be streaming inside for some spectacular action. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Supercross. Dave DeSpain, Larry Myers, Anaheim Stadium, the battleground, round 3 of what I think has been a season of surprises. I mean, come on, who picked Mike LaRocco to win the first race?
I want to remind you that about 3 years ago, I started picking Mike LaRocco to win, and law of averages catching up.
All right, how about Damon Bradshaw at Houston? Surprised me, couldn't get out of the heat race, beaten by one Sean Kalos in the semi, and then surprised, wins the main event by 14 seconds.
Well, you know, maybe that part is a surprise, but let's take a look at his performance in round number 1. He crashed from outside of the top 10, though, picked himself up, and still finished a very strong 4th. Obviously, Houston, he was just a dominant factor. I like Bradshaw. I also like Jean-Michel Bayle. Our defending champ has yet to win, but despite the fact that he's riding with an injury incurred in Europe, he certainly is not in tip-top shape. The guy is there. He's consistent. He's going to be a factor in this one before it's over.
Let me try one more. Are you surprised at all with Jeff Stanton's performance?
Now there, I'm surprised. Stanton has had a couple of opportunities to cash in on that goal that sits atop the winner's rostrum, and he's not done it. And I'm not sure what his problem might be, but Stanton is going to have to wake up and, you know, to get himself fired up if he wants to be a factor in his championship.
Let's go to Bob Hanna, who's standing by on the floor of the stadium here. The 3-time champion has some thoughts on the significance of this 3rd round in the series.
As we stated before the first race in Orlando, the only thing predictable about this year's Supercross series is that it's totally unpredictable. As the newness of the year wears off, the strong riders are looking down the road and saying it's a long, long year, and those are the riders that are going to be in the championship in the end. Jeff Stanton and Jean-Michel Bayle have not won races yet, but are riding great. Damon Bradshaw and Mike LaRocco have both won races, but are both struggling a little bit. I think this week's race is where the good riders are going to put a little distance between them and the rest of the field.
Thank you, Bob. Let me try that one for a surprise. You surprised to see Hanna still hanging around these racetracks?
I'm not surprised to see him here. I am surprised to see him with a microphone. He's after our jobs, and I thought he was our pal.
Well, he points out that somebody may be ready to break out of the pack and take this series by the throat. Let's review the likely candidates. The point leader, Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Stanton, Jean-Michel Bayle, and Mike LaRocco. LaRocco, number 7, got this season off to a spectacular start as he raced the former Supercross champ, number 2, Jeff Stanton, in the season opener at Orlando. He took Stanton's best shot all night long, and then Jeff fell off trying to get around.
He certainly did. Last lap action. Stanton was going for broke, and I guess we could say that he broke.
And with that, it was the debut on Kawasaki for Mike LaRocco, and he made it a good one as he takes the first checkered flag of the 1992 season. The Hoosier out front. We go to Houston, Texas, and look here. Mike LaRocco, number 1, Jean-Michel Bayle, and number 2, Jeff Stanton, all hooked up in a freight train.
Yeah, freight train coming from out of the pack. Jean-Michel Bayle would eventually be the engine on that train. He came all the way from last place and would ultimately finish 3rd.
The winner of that race was Damon Bradshaw. His season began disastrously at Orlando. Watch what happened with the drop of the gate. Very first race of the season, big crash, takes out 7 guys, including Jeff Stanton. And back here in the back, Damon Bradshaw, who's limping around. Everybody thought that this potential champion might have been hurt before the season even started. Well, he came back from that injury to run strong at Orlando, and he killed them at Houston. Damon Bradshaw, the man to beat, says his strategy is all set.
You know, I've set the strategy for every race this year. I'm going to ride every race like I'm last in points, and I'm going to still be smart, but I'm going to do everything I can to win.
So, how are they going to beat Damon Bradshaw tonight? Well, Jean-Michel Bayle plans his strategy while watching practice on television. His teammate Jeff Stanton consulting with the Honda crew. We'll be back with the action right after this.
This ESPN program.
Picture of serenity, sunset by the sea, but it'll be anything but serenity on the floor of Anaheim Stadium tonight. A wild and woolly racetrack, Larry, about to challenge the best in the Supercross business.
The best indeed, Dave, and wild and woolly indeed. Hard to tell from an overhead view of a drawing, but track is full of bumps, left-hand turns, there's right-handers, whoop-de-doos, double and triple jumps. It's one of the roughest tracks the riders have faced all year.
The qualifying heat races take 4 riders each directly to the main event. It is high pressure time because everybody wants that direct transfer. The Anaheim Supercross about ready for the drop of the gate. Here they go.
Almost 60,000 people, in fact, in excess of 60,000, watch the riders as they thunder down that long starting straightaway, make that left-hand turn, and right away the action starts, and it gets rough.
Hole shot for Bader Manet, number 718, pursued by Jeff Stanton. Not for long. Stanton says, I'll have this guy for lunch, thank you. Stanton squirts into the lead. Bader Manet, a Southern Californian who's been contesting the 125 World Championship. Jeff Stanton, of course, focuses on American racing, thinks that the Supercross Championship is the most prestigious in the world. He's won it twice. He wanted it last year. An injury denied him that crown. He lost it to the Frenchman, Jean-Michel Bayot. So for Stanton, it's the opportunity to come back. At number 111, flashing by another European, that is Stefan Everts, who is also getting his first taste of American Supercross racing. And back in the pack, we see number 8, Jeff Emig on the move. Now, these are the highlights of the first heat, and Emig, who's known for getting the good hole shot, right here finds himself in a battle for the transfer position, and that's critical.
Critical indeed. There are 4 riders there that are banging handlebars and only 2 places left. Jeff Stanton and the Belgian rider way out in front. This is Emig now, who has broken into the number 3 position, and right behind him, Michael Craig, rider number 59, trying to get something going. Here comes Larry Ward. We got just a glimpse of him. This is a battle royal, Dave, for the final transfer positions.
Mike Craig, number 59, is the Ultra Cross champion. That's a different indoor stadium series they run in conjunction with the Mickey Thompson Truck Series. So he has a lot of experience in this kind of racing, and he is working on number 8, Emig, as we see the leader Stanton go by, and then Everts, and there's Emig looking over, and Craig's got position on him.
Craig is riding what I have to feel, Dave, is the best race of his career in Supercross competition. Now, the important thing to remember is the transfer spot. Here comes Larry Ward, and here comes Guy Cooper. Ward is number 10, Cooper number 5. Now, they're going to be a factor in this one before it's over.
Yeah, they're still back in 5th, 6th, and 7th position, so they've got to charge, and they are teammates, number 10 and number 5. Number 59, Craig, riding for Kawasaki, and somewhere back behind him is Mike LaRocco, the Orlando winner, not having much of a start here this evening.
LaRocco working his way up as we watch Emig, and this is it for him. This is doomsday as far as this heat race competition goes. Motorcycle stalled. He couldn't get it started, and the field just flocks to the outside. Emig is left setting in the corner.
Big break for the 2 Suzuki teammates. Number 10, Larry Ward. Number 5, Guy Cooper. Ooh, Cooper double jumping right up alongside. They are now 4th and 5th. That means one of them has a spot in the main event, and one of them is going for the semi, and obviously they're going to fight over it. Cooper gets the pass.
Right now it's Cooper in the number 4 position, and now he is chasing Michael Craig, who is setting in 3rd. Larry Ward just dropping back a couple of bike lengths to watch the action. Cooper gets a great drive out of the corner. He says, see ya, and he's going to take over the number 3 position.
Classic Cooper. He likes to ride the rails, likes to go around the outside. They are handlebar to handlebar, and oh, and Craig and Cooper collide, and both of them are into the hay bales. Lines intersected, and a big hit. Take a look at it.
Watch this. I don't think Craig even knows he's there. You know, the hole was too small. Cooper tried to squeeze through, and there was no choice. It's one of those things that happen in racing. Meanwhile, look what it does for Larry Ward.
Yeah, he inherits 3rd spot and goes after Stefan Everts, trying to take over 2nd. Everts, number 111, up on the outside. He is the reigning 125cc world champ. Larry Ward is a one-time Supercross winner in his career. Right now, they are 2nd and 3rd in the heat, and that's where they will finish as Jeff Stanton takes the victory, and an impressive one indeed, rounding out the top 4 transfer positions as 2nd and 3rd take the checker. Mike LaRocco, another beneficiary of all the crashing and stalling out there, so he'll get the final transfer spot. We'll go to the highlights of the 2nd heat race, and it's Jeff MATIASEVICH out front once again. Number 9's getting good starts this year. He's got Damon Bradshaw, number 4, right alongside, and Bradshaw squeezing by to take the lead with comparative ease, recalling the days when those two used to try to run each other off the racetrack.
And I will guarantee you that that had this been a main event, that Bradshaw never would have made that move to the outside with the ease in which he made it right there. Now out in front, Bradshaw wasting no time. He wants to put as much distance between himself and the rest of the field as he possibly can. He's doing just that. Matiasevich running second. Here comes Jean-Michel Bayle from the number 3 spot, and Bayle is regaining the form that carried him to the 1991 Camel Supercross Series championship.
Remember, Matiasevich is still riding with a rod in his femur. Broken leg has hampered his conditioning, and he has trouble going the distance. He's in second spot and pressured by Bayle. Bayle has also been struggling this year with bad starts, and he got another no more than borderline start in this heat race, but he's definitely putting the pressure on Matiasevich. Out front, Bradshaw is up and gone. This is the battle for the runner-up spot. Jean-Michel Bayle demonstrating why he's the series champion. So smooth. Here's 4th and 5th spot. Number 20 is Eric Kehoe, and he's under pressure from Mike Kudrowski.
He is indeed. A semi-privateer sponsored by the Pro Circuit Racing Team is Eric Kehoe. Of course, Kudrowski, the full-blown factory rider for Team Kawasaki. Kudrowski says this is what a stuff pass is all about. Just takes it right up to the bales. Kehoe, being the veteran, wisely shut off.
All right, we'll go back to the battle for second. I want you to watch what happens here. Matiasevich already in lap traffic. Here comes Bayle putting the pressure on. The old story, if you're on the inside in one corner, then you're going to be on the outside in the next corner. Matiasevich way up on the outside. Bayle appears to have the good line. They come here. Matiasevich crosses in front of him, overshoots it just a little bit, blasts the hay bale out of the way. The hay bale is gone, and Jean-Michel Bayle has second spot. Out front, Bradshaw wins it in a walk, and that's an important victory for him. He's been having trouble with his qualifying races thus far this year. Second spot to Bayle, who Larry Myers insists is still the fastest man on the racetrack, and behind them the transfer positions go to Matiasevich and Kudrowski, the 2 teammates. A Yamaha, a Honda, and 2 Kawasaki's are bound for the main event, and we'll be back with more from Anaheim right after this.
Where can you turn to for help?
Tonight, the 125cc class about ready to launch down into turn number 1, battling for regional championship points. The Western Regional Championship is up for grabs. These are the stars of the future, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids with the opportunity to play to a crowd of 62,000 fans. Talk about excitement. Drops, crowd goes crazy, charge to turn number 1, and right down on the inside and taking the lead is number 1 in the series, the regional champion from 1991, trying to repeat in 92, Jeremy McGrath of California storms into the early lead. McGrath in his second race of the season got off to kind of a rocky start at Houston a week ago. Meanwhile, his pursuers include number 130, Damon Huffman, and his teammate, number 22, Buddy Antunez. Here is that battle between Huffman and Antunez, and they are currently racing for second and third spot as McGrath tries to break away out front. Last week at Houston, McGrath was leading the race, got tired, his arms pumped up, faded, and finished third. He's determined that won't happen again here tonight.
I think that he got caught up in the anxiety of the moment last week, if you will. It was East versus West. 2 times a year, the East region and the West region get together. One of them is in Houston, Texas. Another one later in the season in Dallas. Then a third time they'll strut their stuff as the top 10 from the final standings in the Eastern region and Western region get together for a grand finale, a big shootout. Action back in the back is the great. This is the battle for the number 2 position. Antunez and Huffman still going at it, Dave.
Huffman is a little bit reminiscent of another kid we saw back in the Eastern region, Ezra Lusk. He's a brand new pro, number 130, just got his professional license, and this is really his first opportunity to run in this kind of competition, and he is leading Antunez, who comes in here as one of the top-rated riders in the division. He is, in fact, Antunez is, in fact, a teammate to the leader, Jeremy McGrath. So young Damon Huffman is getting a pretty good taste of some pretty fast competition.
Here's another parallel. Young Damon Huffman is a teammate of young Ezra Lusk. Both of them signed by Suzuki in the off-season to contest this 125 Supercross Championship, and I think we'll see them in the 125 Outdoor Nationals as well.
This is the proving ground for young talent, and those factory teams go looking for the young kids like Lust, like Huffman. They want to get them signed up early before somebody else skims that cream off the top.
What is happening here is Jeremy McGrath out front is opening up a big lead, while in third place, Buddy Antonez, who figures to give McGrath a run for his money, according to the experts, in the title chase, is being held up by Huffman. Huffman doing one heck of a job.
Antonez isn't going to wait any longer. He cuts Huffman off, grabs that spot, and number 27 coming right with him is Tyson Boland, part of the California Racing Brothers team. Buddy Antonez taking over the second spot, and now Boland from fourth, increasing the pressure on young Damon Huffman. Here is the three-rider battle for second, third, and fourth, and McGrath is making the best of this because he has opened up a huge lead very early on. Precisely what he was hoping would happen.
That's just exactly what he was hoping would happen. It's working in his favor. Now, I think probably the two riders, McGrath is the more experienced, the more stable, certainly the smoothest among the two. If you go back 1 year ago, Buddy Antonez was on a Suzuki factory motorcycle. McGrath, meanwhile, winning the championship aboard the Peak Antifreeze Pro Circuit Honda, and then now they're teammates, both riding for that Peak Antifreeze team. I don't think it was a demotion, Dave, that put Buddy Antonez back there, because the equipment certainly is just as good as anything you'll find with any of the factory teams.
Boland continuing the pressure on Huffman as the race for third is really the focus right now. Those Peak Honda teammates continue to run 1-2 in procession style. Huffman and Boland have a battle going on for third and fourth, and Kyle Lewis rounds out the top five. We'll be back with more after this timeout. You can see just how much of a runaway Jeremy McGrath is making of this race. There goes your second place man, Buddy Antonez. Interval back to the third and fourth place battle, 6.5 seconds. Damon Huffman continuing to stand the pressure here from Tyson Boland, number 27. Kyle Lewis periodically coming up and sticking his nose into that, trying to make it a three-man battle. I'm pretty impressed that Huffman's able to hold on here, Larry.
Extremely impressed. As you said, he's a first-year pro, 16 years of age, and generally you would expect when you're racing in front of 60,000 plus that you're going to have a case of jitters, particularly when you're a newcomer to the pro ranks. But he's exhibited none of that. He's just doing a fine job.
Well, that crowd is noteworthy. You see him in the background there, one of the largest ever here at Anaheim, and about 300 more people than will watch the Super Bowl on this same weekend. The stadium's significantly bigger than that one back in Minneapolis. So Huffman is running in front of a huge throng, and I think he's doing himself proud out there.
Well, it's a definite training ground for 125 riders to convert to the 250 class. And when a rider does himself proud, as you pointed out, the factories are watching. Kawasaki, Suzuki, Honda, Yamaha, all of them are looking for riders that they will tab in upcoming years to be the 250 stars. That's where all the money is, but it has to start down here in this 125 class.
We watch the leader running away. One of the keys to this kind of success is to get that motorcycle working properly. Bike setup is so critical in this form of sport, and one of the keys is tires. Bob Hanna looked at the combinations.
Although these tires may look identical, there's some large differences. The tire on the left here is a 752 Dunlop. The tread pattern's very wide, the compound's very hard. It's used mainly for mud and sandy conditions. The intermediate tire here is a 695. It's an intermediate tread pattern, a very mild compound. It works in all-around conditions, mud, sand, hard packed, a little mud. It's just an all-around good tire. The tire on the right here is a 707, only used for hard track riding. Very sticky compound. It wears out very fast. Probably be the choice for the riders at Anaheim tonight.
Hi, thank you very much, Hurricane. As Jeremy McGrath continues to run away, the battle for third remains the focus of this 125cc main event here in Anaheim Stadium. And Damon Huffman continues to hold off the advances of number 27, Tyson Boland. Boland doesn't really seem to be trying any different lines. He's following him, Larry.
You can't do that in supercross competition if you want to go someplace. You have to ride where the other guy is not. And if the guy is taking the good lines, then you've got to take an alternate, even if it's not so good. Now, Jeremy McGrath is an expert at that. And I'll tell you what else Jeremy McGrath is doing, Dave. He is experimenting with lines while he is out in front. He'll try an alternate just in case something should happen during the race, and he'll need that alternate.
Right side of your screen, Buddy Antonez. He is the second place place man. Then comes the battle for third. You get a sense of the interval here. They're not gaining on Antunez, but neither is Antunez gaining on the leader. So is Damon Huffman. Oh, trouble! Huffman pulling off the racetrack. Motorcycle stops cold. Boland jumps into third spot.
Whatever his problem is, it's a serious one. He's not even trying to start the engine. You'd have to guess now, shrugging, you'd have to guess in a situation like that either the engine just blew or transmission went and he felt it. He's done for the day.
Yeah, he knew it was terminal. He certainly didn't make any effort to get it going again. So a bad break for the kid, and out front, here's the interval from first to second. You see the leader, Jeremy McGrath, with a straightaway on his teammate, Buddy Antunez. He has opened it up to 7. Oh, and Antunez got bailed off. The clock made him nervous. He was watching the clock still.
No, he's going to be one of the proverbial sopranos when this one is over. Here's another look. He looks all right in the air, just comes down, and he just kind of smashed the wheels into the ground. Feet come off the pegs, but he saved it. That's what it's all about. He's still upright.
And in the shuffle, looky here, Phil Lawrence, number 65, squirts around Boland and takes over third spot. Up front, leader Jeremy McGrath heads into the final lap. He said that number 1 plate got a little heavy last week in Houston, but he's given it a good ride tonight.
It's a little bit different having a number 1 on your bike than having just any old number, you know. There's a little bit of pressure involved, but you know, you just got to learn how to deal with that, and that's why, you know, each race will probably get a little bit better.
Well, it certainly got a lot better in the week between Houston and Anaheim. McGrath is going to win this one with ease. Of course, the Eastern guys are all going to say, sure, it's easy for him to win when we're not there. But for now, the only story is Jeremy McGrath. He takes the checkered flag with a lot of style.
A lot of style. That was kind of a radical move. McGrath is good at that. Here comes the battle now for the runner-up position. Actually, it's a battle whether or not Buddy Antunez can pass these 2 riders in front of him that were lappers before the checkered flag. He was all alone in second.
McGrath wins it. His teammate Antunez is second. Phil Lawrence third. Tyson Boland fourth. Jimmy Gaddis claims 5th spot. Rounding out the top 10, Dana Wiggins, Lance Smale, Michelle Monty, Tommy Clowers, and Ray Crum. Let's go to Victory Lane and Bob Hanna.
Jeremy McGrath, you told us earlier tonight you're going to ride to win. Nobody can dispute that.
Well, you know, I had a little bit bad luck last week. I was out here to prove a point, you know. Those guys in the East, they really think that they can stomp on me since last race. But I think I got something coming for them.
Next race where you match up with the East Coast, they've got something coming.
They got something big coming.
Good luck, Jeremy.
Thanks, Bob.
While Jeremy McGrath looks ahead to his rematch with the Eastern Region guys, he leads the Western Region standings now by 9 points. So let's pop the champagne. Jeremy McGrath in the middle, Buddy Antunez on the left, Phil Lawrence on the right. Celebrating at Anaheim. We'll be back with the 250 stars right after this timeout.
A few years back,
266 folks on hand in Anaheim Stadium tonight. 3rd straight record for Supercross for 1992, and a particularly poignant evening. This is the closest this series comes to the home of Jeff Ward. And earlier tonight, the 7-time national champion, the 2-time Supercross champ, took this lap of honor to mark his last appearance here in front of the hometown fans. His dad was a world-class trials rider. The kid followed in his footsteps, but quickly decided he didn't want to ride trials. He wanted to race. He wanted to beat up on the big guys. He earned the nickname the Flying Freckle, and he lived with that reluctantly throughout his career as a grade school factory rider. He broke all the records for mini bike championships and then moved into the pro ranks where he battled the big names of the sport. Everybody has a Jeff Ward memory.
Yeah, I always remember racing at Dallas with him when I had the race from hell back and forth on the last lap, and we passed each other tons of times. He jumped over me, I jumped over him, and then I had the lead, and I threw it away with like 2 corners to go, and he won the race. So that always sticks in my head every time I'm either racing with him or we're just sitting around talking about stuff.
Now 30 years old and recently married, the only man to win all the titles in American motocross is saying goodbye to his fans.
I'd like to thank everybody that backed me throughout the years. I've had a great career. I love the people in motocross, and I'm going to miss every one of them. And Kawasaki, that's what I kept with, and I couldn't have done it without them. And it's just a tough situation, you know, retiring from the sport. But you know, I'm going to move on to car racing and see what happens from there.
Jeff Ward, one of the greatest champions of all time, Dave. We're going to miss him.
With that, we go to tonight's Anaheim main event. The fastest 2250 riders are at the gate. Jeff Ward among them, but barely. He has struggled to qualify here this evening. The big guns, Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Stanton, and Jean-Michel Bayle, considered the pre-race favorite.
Bayle and Stanton are looking for their first victory of the year. How different it is than 1 year ago. By this time a year ago, Dave, they had put Team Honda well on top of the standings. As a matter of fact, first 5 rounds were all Stanton and Bayle. This one, though, belonging to LaRocco and Bradshaw so far this season.
Honda without a victory thus far in the season. Maybe it'll be tonight. They're ready for the drop of the gate, and the Anaheim Supercross is underway. Charge into turn 1. Let's see who's going to get that precious hole shot. It's Eric Kehoe. Do you believe that? Kehoe,
the private sheriff for the pro circuit, and Doug Dubach. Doug Dubach spinning off the side of the track. He's all right. He's going to get back into this one out of contention as Kehoe. Look at this. The pro circuit rider out in front. Well, that's got to warm the hearts of all privateers.
Boy, when you get in front of this pack, though, you don't want to be looking back over your shoulder. Kehoe will be under intense pressure. A bit of a surprise. He came out of the semifinal. The big guns once again not getting the great start. Here into second spot goes Stanton, and right on his rear wheel is the man who won the Houston race so impressively, Damon Bradshaw. Bradshaw number 4.
Well, earlier, Dave, we alluded to the fact that Stanton needed a wake-up call. He's had a couple of opportunities already to maybe put a little stuff move on Kehoe. He hasn't done it. Bradshaw's not going to wait. Look at this. He goes high. Stanton does. Bradshaw to the inside, and Bradshaw, just like that, has moved by Stanton. He's taken over second place.
Stanton falls to third. Jean-Michel Bayle, number 1, the series champion, right on Stanton's rear wheel. Again, Bradshaw, the most aggressive man out there. He's not waiting for anybody. He will go after Kehoe now, and right around the outside like Kehoe was tied to a post.
Beautiful move. Now, Stanton watched all of that, and Stanton tried to follow, but he just didn't follow through, and Kehoe was able to hold on to the number 2 position. Now let's see what happens with Bayle.
Look at the difference in the first 4 spots. The only man who's made it pass is Bradshaw. He's passed 2 riders out of the top 4. Thus, he's your leader. There's Bayle inside. He and Stanton handlebar to handlebar through the whoops and around the turn. Bayle will hang on to the good line and take over third spot. And again, Jeff Stanton just not going forward. Kehoe under pressure.
There's not a spark there, Dave. I don't know how to describe it any other way, but Stanton is just lacking. And here goes a Bayle to the inside. That's the spark I'm talking about. Making the move when opportunity presents. And Bayle is making the most of it. He takes over the number 2 position.
Bayle is so good down there on the inside line. He can get around the bottom of the racetrack faster than anybody else in the business, almost as fast as the guy who are riding around that rail on the outside, where they should have a lot more momentum. Bayle, number 1, into second spot. Kehoe falls to third, and now number 2, Jeff Stanton, will still be stuck in 4th spot, and he's under pressure from Guy Cooper, number 5.
And we had a quick look at number 3, Kudrowski, and number 9, MATIASEVICH. Meanwhile, Jeff Stanton is still struggling to get by Kehoe. He finally gets the job done. That should have happened. That move should have happened on the opening lap.
That'll move Stanton to 3rd spot now. And again, he's going to have an interval to make up on second place, Jean-Michel Bayle. The frenzy of that first couple of laps. It's hard to describe the intensity. You've got to be ready to seize the moment. And Kehoe has slipped back to 4th spot. Stanton sitting in 3rd. The man who's charging now is Cooper as he goes around Kehoe, and boy, Eric's headed the wrong way.
You see that, though, but it's not that Eric is not riding well, because he is, Dave. They're going extremely fast. He's contesting with the best in the business. It's just that those riders that are coming behind him have some momentum, some drive. They want to make the moves, and that's where Stanton was lacking. Now, Stanton in 3rd, and look, here comes Cooper in 4th, and he's already putting the pressure on Jeff Stanton.
The top 5 in Anaheim. We'll be back with more of the action right after this. My wife to pick up the action with the race for 3rd. Jeff Stanton being pursued by Guy Cooper. Cooper on the Suzuki. Very, very aggressive for a 30-year-old guy. His counterpart, Jeff Ward, hanging up his helmet. Cooper doesn't look like he's ready to retire.
At least he's not announced retirement plans. Cooper says he has has some things to accomplish before he gets out. He wants to win. He's making no bones about a title, but he wants to win a supercross event, and could be tonight. He's really flying.
Never won one. He's been second, what, 5 times in his career. Stanton, who is a 2-time champion, pursued by Cooper in really the only race out there because Bradshaw took the lead on the second lap and has literally split. And number 1, Jean-Michel Bayle, is pretty solidly in that second spot. You can see the fans all on their feet. Even when it's not a tight race, the action is so spectacular. He's got them up and their hearts pumping.
Oh, it is spectacular. These guys are athletes, no two ways about it. Some of the maneuvers that they perform on the motorcycles when they're in the air or on the ground, it's just spectacular to watch, and that's what the fans are appreciating. You're right. Race action at this particular time is a little bit on the nil side. Cooper, what is he, about 3-4 bike lengths behind Stanton, and that's the closest race that we have on the racetrack. But still, you want to watch, you want to be part of it, and the crowd is making a lot of noise and appreciating it.
As we follow this battle, Larry, for third spot, one of the knocks on Cooper over the years has been that of inconsistency in Supercross, and he has certainly suffered from that this year. He started the season off in Orlando with a 14th place finish, came roaring back the next week in Houston, and ran second. You've got to be more consistent than that if you're going to be a champion.
Well, throughout the career of Guy Cooper, Dave, consistency has been a problem. We could take it to the outdoor series where he would struggle, to win that first national championship event. He would lead and then he would crash, just like he has done in Supercross. And as far as consistent finishes up close to the front, well, it's never been there. I can't really put my finger on it. Tremendous athlete, tremendous rider, but he does have that inconsistent factor about him, unlike this man, Damon Bradshaw, who consistently right now is driving to the front.
He's jumped on about a 6 or 7 second lead over Jean-Michel Bayle, and he's camping on it. He's not letting anybody get close enough to challenge. Damon Bradshaw, now 19 years old, won his first Supercross race right here in Anaheim just 2 years ago, actually less than 2 years ago. Hard to believe that this young man has matured to be the potential champion that we see in action here tonight. Long way back to second place Jean-Michel Bayle, as Damon Bradshaw continues a riding clinic for the second week in a row. It's Houston all over again. Bradshaw already leading in the points, trying to extend that lead tonight. Meanwhile, Cooper is coming after Stanton in the race for third. Big jump by Cooper. The guy has always been spectacular. Now he's turned 30, says he's changed his style a little.
Well, I've mellowed some in the past 2 years, but I still like the big jumps. I have fun with them. But as far as the big clickers and stuff, I'm being a little bit more tame and trying to get around the track as fast as possible. And sometimes the big jumps aren't quite as fast as just staying lower to the ground, putting the power there.
I like watching Guy Cooper. Says he's mellowed. I think you have to look pretty closely to see the difference.
Stanton would look over his shoulder and disagree, I think, with that.
Stanton, by the way, is protecting himself from a Cooper pass, and that may be why he's not able to put any kind of charge on Jean-Michel Bayle. The top 3 are solid. Bradshaw, Bayle, and Stanton. Cooper putting on the show. We'll be back in a moment. Terry Myers and Damon Bradshaw setting the pace in Supercross competition for the second week in a row. There is runner-up Jean-Michel Bayle. Interval clock back to third and fourth place. Jeff Stanton 8.2 seconds behind, with Guy Cooper hot on his heels, and the closest thing we've had to a race tonight. And I think a race that may be affecting Jeff Stanton somewhat.
I'm certain you're right. The clock is a little on the deceiving side there because if Bradshaw was caught up in some traffic, actually they've not been that close to him. Now, Jeff Stanton's philosophy has always been, don't worry about the other guy. Ride your own race, charge to the front. Now, he's worried about Guy Cooper. You'll see him. He looks over his shoulder. He tries to block the lines of Cooper, and he's wasting time doing that, Dave.
As a result, he is back in third and not mounting any kind of challenge to Jean-Michel Bayle. And it is indeed an un-Stanton-like performance that we have seen here tonight. I think it's been an un-Stanton-like season, as you
Well, it has. We're only, 3 events in, but certainly he is not performing as we have seen him perform in the past. He's just not that aggressive guy. The fire isn't there.
That flag for the lap riders as the Stanton and Cooper freight train comes rolling through, trying to do something with the runaway leaders in this race. Damon Bradshaw up front, and second place Jean-Michel Bayle. There is a look at Bradshaw. Reminds me a little bit of Bob Hurricane Hanna, who rode Yamahas at about the same stage in his career. A lot of things have changed in the many years since Bob Hanna was a kid. We're going to give the Hurricane an opportunity now to tell us about some of the things that are different in the sport of motocross.
Back when my father outfitted me to go riding in the early 60s, the gear was a little bit different. Small leather boots barely over the ankles, a good set of Levi's, your favorite flannel shirt, a half-shell fiberglass helmet, and about the best you could do for goggles was a good squint. Nowadays, it's a lot different. We've got goggles with Lexan lenses, up to 10 tear-offs for bad conditions. We've got helmets with full coverage protection made out of carbon graphite. We've got shoulder pads, chest protectors, elbow pads built into the jerseys, gloves with pads on the outside and the inside of the palm for rider protection. We've got leathers with padded thighs, knee cups, shin guards, boots made a combination of plastic and leather for rider protection, cups in the ankles, and good cups over the toes. As you can see, the rider protection has come a long ways in 30 years.
I can just envision Bob. Can't you not see him riding across the desert or over a triple jump in those little tiny boots and a flannel shoe and a pair of blue jeans?
I'd like to have that flannel shirt for one of those memorabilia auctions. You can be a rich man. As we watch the battle for fourth here, Jeff Stanton working his way through the back markers. Number 2, lapping traffic. Guy Cooper's been sitting back there, 6 or 7 bike lengths behind. See the little bobble for Cooper? Just can't quite get the momentum that he needs to make a charge at Jeff Stanton. And so there have been remarkably few passes here. The running order, Bradshaw, Bale, and Stanton. Stanton says you better get used to that.
What you see here now is what's going to be here for a while, I truly believe. There's not anybody really pounding on JMB and Damon and myself. There's not anybody really pounding on the door real heavily. So I feel what you see is what you're going to get for a while.
Okay, I've got no problem with that. I like seeing Damon Bradshaw, Jean-Michel Bale, Jeff Stanton. I just like to see them a little closer together, Larry.
I think we all would. Jeff Stanton needs to look over his shoulder, too, before he makes statements like that, because the last time I looked, breathing down his neck, very close to that rear wheel, was Guy Cooper. So there was some new blood, and I'm sure from time to time you'll see it crop up. Blue flag is waving. That means get out of the way. A freight train is coming through. They do that for the benefit of the riders that are about to lap other riders.
Late in the race like this, nobody's going to make a charge for position. Stanton knows he's stuck with third, and Bale is going to be content with second because nobody can catch Damon Bradshaw. So Bradshaw can sit there on the cruise control, and he, in fact, has backed off the pace a little bit. Cooper is really the only guy out there charging.
And he has been charging since the drop of the gate, and several times he came close. But Damon Bradshaw, he's just charging more than anyone right now.
Bradshaw leads it as the laps begin to wind down here at Anaheim. Bale, Stanton, Cooper, and Kudrowski. We'll be right back. Winding down, Damon Bradshaw en route to his second straight Supercross win of the year. Big difference from the slow start that he got last year.
You know, last year didn't start off real good for me. You know, I changed mechanics. I had some different mechanics, some changes at the factory, you know, and we finally got all those things ironed out, and now everything's perfect. You know, I got all the tools, the right tools, and it's a matter of going out and doing the job now.
Well, he is certainly doing the job tonight. You got just a glimpse of Mike LaRocco stalled back there on the racetrack. Orlando winner having tough luck tonight. And now here is Mickey Diamond also in trouble as his motorcycle has stalled. No problems for Damon Bradshaw en route to career victory number, quick, Larry.
10 on his career and 2 for the season, Dave.
2 in a row on the season as he heads into the final lap. Just to give you an idea of how thoroughly he has dominated this race, there's the interval back to number 1, Jean-Michel Bale. And we will park here a while waiting for the third place man. You talked about Jeff Stanton at the top of the show, just not in the thick of it at all here tonight. There goes Stanton in third, and he has opened up now a big gap over Guy Cooper, number 5, after those spectacular moves early, has decided to let him go. And I have to confess, Larry, those 63,000 people have all sat down now. The drama's pretty well over with here.
Pretty much unfolded. It's been a wire-to-wire thing for Damon Bradshaw, but fans have been treated to some superb riding, and there was just a quick glimpse of Bader Monet. He certainly had his problems here today. A couple of good starts, but not such a good finish. Damon Bradshaw, it's been all his, and he is still looking strong. He's not slowed down a bit.
Anna said somebody was going to break out of the pack tonight. That somebody is number 4, Damon Bradshaw. Now just a lap from the checkered flag and totally dominating this evening's performance.
You know, I could go back just a quick Damon Bradshaw story, Dave. Remember when Bradshaw was riding a 65cc motorcycle down in Florida. Had absolutely no sponsors. At that time, I worked for a company called High Point Racing Products, and I can proudly say that I saw this coming, and I grabbed hold of Damon Bradshaw and sponsored him with some boots and pants. Actually, I did it as a favor to another friend, as Bradshaw feeling the effects now of last lap. The white flag syndrome will show off a little bit for the crowd, but this guy has been tremendous. Great amateur career, many national championships, and looks like now that pro career is starting to come into his own.
Well, Larry, I hope you don't think he's going to split the money with you tonight. He is en route to an even greater series point lead. Should be up around 13 by the time this evening is done. We'll check that after the checkered flag. The big story, I think, is the question: can anybody beat Damon Bradshaw? The way he's riding tonight, the answer would have to be no. Bradshaw has won his second straight and second of 3 in the 1992 season. Jean-Michel Bale second. Jeff Stanton, Guy Cooper, Mike Kudrowski round out the top 5, and the rest of the top 10 from the Anaheim Supercross: Ward and Ward, Matasevich, Everts, and Kehoe. Well, let's go to Bob Hanna with the winner.
Damon Bradshaw, you're on a roll. Last week, the qualifier tonight, you were a little modest before the main event tonight. I don't think you needed to be. You were in full control.
No, I got off to a good start, like I said, and, you know, that's what I wanted to do. I had to work hard. This was a tough track. I charged maybe 2 or 3 corners, you know, each lap. I didn't charge the whole race to save a little energy because I figured he's going to pour it on there at the end, and he did, and I was able to hold on to it.
Hold on to it, he did. Damon Bradshaw leads the series standings over Jeff Stanton and Jean-Michel Bale. Morocco 4th, Ward and Cooper tied for 5th. The celebration begins. Champagne time for the second week in a row. Larry, final thoughts on what we've seen this man accomplish tonight?
Well, what we saw was an absolute runaway. Dominance is the word that comes to mind. I cannot believe, though, Dave, it's going to continue throughout the series. Bale and Stanton will catch fire before this one is over.
They'll have another opportunity next week in Seattle, Washington. You'll see it on ESPN. I'm Dave DeSpain for Larry Myers and Bob Hanna. So long, everyone.